times real, that's why my name's Trill. Three times real, that's why my name's Trill.
Hey, put your hands up, come on, put your hands up, put your hands up, shout out.
3 times real, that's why my name's Trill. Three times real, that's why my name's Trill.
Hey, put your hands up, come on, put your hands up, put your hands up, now I hop on the scene with some banging dope beats with a top.
They're nasty.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros, a comment made by Timothy Bradley, and he dared Canelo Alvarez to call out Andre Ward. Take a listen.
You're not going to beat him. The only guy that can beat Canelo right now is Andre Ward. I'm telling you right now, he's the only guy that can beat Canelo right now. Benavidez can give him a hell of a fight. Hell of a fight. And I still got to see it. I still want to see it. Like, I'd rather see Benavidez fight than Plant right now. They'll sell out Cowboy Stadium. No problem.
I'm with you.
But Ward, his IQ, his ability, his tactics, he can isolate a lot of the stuff that Canelo likes to do. He's bigger, a little bit longer, smart, fighting the inside, can move. You know the game, in and out. He can outthink him.
Do you think Andre would actually take that fight if it was on the table? I mean, he's already in the Hall of Fame. He's been retired so long.
Let's put it this way. If Canelo feels that he wants that work, call him. If Canelo wants that work, call him. But I will come out and say Andre Ward beats him right now. Can you imagine Andre Ward coming out of retirement, been off whatever 3 years, 4 years, and then coming out and fighting Canelo with no tune-up fights, and then beat him?
Or vice versa. I mean, whoever would win, their legacy goes up.
Yeah,
for sure.
Listen, Trey hasn't lost since he was 12 years old. Olympic gold medalist.
So that's what Timothy Bradley had to say. Said the only person who can beat Canelo Alvarez right now is Andre Ward. And he said if Canelo's so confident that he can beat Andre Ward, call him out then. So, Conspiracy G, man, what's your reaction to what Timothy Bradley had to say? Do you believe that Andre Ward is the best option to beat Canelo?
I gotta. It's possible. However, inactivity, bro, you have to factor that in. Like Andre Ward is a chess player in the ring, but when was that? When was the Kovalev fight? What year was that?
5 years ago.
Like 2017. Been like 4 or 5 years ago. 2017 was the last time Ward been in the ring.
Versus a Canelo that's fighting. It seems like he's fighting like 4 fights a year. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, this is I hear what Timothy Bradley is trying to say. I really do, and I really, really want to believe it. But nah, man. I'm be honest, man. If I had to pick somebody that I feel has the best chance, it would be a David Benavidez. But I understand what Timothy Bradley's saying. It's just I would like to see Andre Ward have a couple of tune-ups. You know what I mean? His body may not even react the same way to a punch now. He's been out the game. You know what I mean? I think in that same interview, if you listen to Timothy Bradley, they asked Timothy, like, hey, would you like to come back? And he was like, nah. He's like, my mind thinks I could do it, but my body just can't handle it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, if your body can't handle it, what makes you think Andre Ward can handle a hook?
In all fairness, Timothy Bradley's been in wars and taken way more punishment than Andre Ward's ever taken.
Andre Ward, his career has been, trying to get fights, and so he has taken a lot less damage than Timothy Bradley. But we're talking about Canelo, bro. Like, but I will say this though: Andre was 6'1". Canelo, I think he's like 5'8" or something. He does have the height reach advantage, and Ward, he was pretty strategic in that ring. So I kind of feel what Timothy Bradley's saying. I'm just more on it's been too long. It's been too much of a gap for me to just think Andre Ward could just come back, no tune-ups, no anything, and just beat Canelo, who's red hot right now. I feel like that's extreme, but I feel not extreme. Yeah, it is extreme. It's wishful thinking. It really is. And I get it. You hope you going hard for your co-host. That's your man's. You're like, hey, you know what? I'm jumping out the window, no parachute for my homie. I get it, man. I do it sometimes, but come on, bro. Like, stop it, man.
All right, Dog Bill.
He was crushing on his buddy. You know, look, I don't see nobody messing with Saul right now. Like Tim said, I can agree with him. Like, it was sell out good in Dallas, but I still think he beats Benavidez, and I think it'll be a good competitive fight. But he beats Benavidez. I think right now, nobody is messing with. Leave that boy alone for the next couple of years. You know what I'm saying? Let him, like, he's doing his thing. As far as Andre Ward goes, Andre Ward retired at the age of 33, right? He's 37 now. And he's been out the ring that whole time. People got to remember why he left the sport of boxing. He didn't leave the sport of boxing because he couldn't get fights. You got to remember, he left with a huge paycheck. Like, they offered him ridiculous amount of money in a contract. And he said that this money wasn't worth his health. I quote, he said that his body, the reason why he was leaving the sport, because his body cannot take the rigors of the sport anymore. That's why he was leaving the sport. Has nothing to do with nothing else. He said his body couldn't put up with it no more. Your body can't put up with it. Do you think your body's going to be able to put up with what Canelo's doing to people's bodies?
Breaking dudes' biceps with punches to the arm. You know what I'm saying?
Come on. This is, I get it. This is the great. All right, well, if that's the case, then call out the great Thomas the Hitman Hearns.
I challenge Thomas the Hitman Hearns.
Tommy the Hitman Hearns can do it. You know what I'm saying? He'll keep
Nobody had the heart to tell him that Thomas Hitman Hearns hadn't been champion for some time now.
Tommy can do it. Tommy keep him away with the jab and throw that straight right hand. You know what I'm saying? No, right? That sounds ridiculous, right? That sounds like that's how I'm thinking of this Andre Ward coming back with no tune-ups, no nothing, and jumping in after this 5 to 4 year layoff. To hop in there with this wrecking ball Saul.
That's what I'm saying. That's kind of reckless.
I don't know. I have a lot of faith in Andre Ward. Not that much. He's still a man at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Andre Ward is special and he is gifted. He's still a man at the end of the day. You know? And Timmy get a couple drinks in him, man, you know.
He was sober in that interview, though.
He was? I don't know. He had that.
It just started, I think. Yeah.
He had that Beanie Siegel look in his eyes. You know what I'm saying? When you talk about Drake. You know? So, I don't know, but I don't see it. Shout out to Canelo. And shout out to Andre Ward. But if he want to challenge this, I hope he gets in there with somebody else beforehand to see if his body can take on. Because that's why he left the sport. He said because his body couldn't put up with the rigors of the sport. So that's why he retired at the age of 33.
Did Andre Ward have his shoulder surgery?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, he gonna need both arms. Canelo.
Yeah, to keep this guy away. You know what I'm saying? But hey.
All right, TVE.
Man, Tim, your knees need a break, bro. Like, I'm just saying. Chill. I was saying, your knees need
They said his knees need a break.
I just keep that, yo. Pause yourself.
What you mean?
son.
The man. This is his livelihood, yo. He need to go on vacation.
I ain't
or
gonna say
something.
that about Timothy,
That's
man.
what I'm saying. Come on, Ned, man. The views and
What?
opinions, Ned. It's just Ned. Watch
Ned,
your mouth, Ned, yo. You wow.
Ned, Ned, the TVA for the.
Listen, Tib, I know you like to support your boys and put the battery in their back. But come on, yo. Ward, yo, it's been 4 or 5 years he's been retired, man. And honestly, for him to come back and face Canelo, that's like a death sentence. That's all. You just want your boy to die. Like you don't even love him to sit there and say these type of statements.
Metaphor.
Like, metaphorically speaking, you don't love him metaphorically if you want him to come back and fight the best in the sport. And you know, Ward, I'm gonna say it, come at Ward too, because Ward, you done said some statements too, like two years ago, like when AJ lost or AJ was fighting Ruiz, you said you could knock AJ out. So Ward, I'm gonna say if you think you could do it, if you think you take on Canelo, come out of retirement, man. Stop being scared, yo. Go face that man, yo. He's looking for it, yo. If he taking on any challenges, newcomers, whatever, old comers, newcomers, he want it. And Ward, yo, just prepare yourself, yo, because you know it's liquid diet after that. That's what I'm saying.
You heard what the
Liquid
TV
diet.
said.
But yo, Ned, good. Get the salute to you, Ned. The fact that you did bring up when Andre Ward was talking reckless to Anthony Josh, I almost forgot about that, yo. So.
But like he said about Canelo said, old school, new school need to learn, no. A bird with a bird like this go inferno.
Yeah.
I see you, Ned.
You see me, I'm here. But yeah, salute to my man.
Happy birthday, Biggie.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to say. And Trill, your connection to my man Danger was excellent. You know what I'm saying? You know, Thomas the Hitman Hearns, put him in there. But Timothy Bradley's known for saying some crazy, ridiculous stuff. And out of all the ridiculous things he said, this probably has been the least. You know, it's been less ridiculous than some of the other things. So Andre Ward has the best chance of beating Canelo. When I think about what I just saw with Billy Joe Saunders, when I think about what I saw with Callum Smith, I left the other guy out for a reason. Come on. He came to get an autograph. So like when I think about what I saw with those guys, and you're talking about Caleb Plant, but Caleb Plant, it remains to be seen. I don't think, and I could be wrong, because Caleb Plant, he's saying all the right things. I do believe Caleb is going to walk in there with more swag and more belief than Callum and Billy Joe Saunders. And the reason why I'm saying more belief than Billy Joe Saunders is because I believe if Billy Joe Saunders really had the belief in himself, he wouldn't have been arguing over 2 square feet like that. So that's what that's my take on Caleb. Now we're talking about Benavidez, but Benavidez is 24 years old. Benavidez hasn't been in there with anyone the quality of Canelo Alvarez. And when he was in there with Anthony Dirrell, who wasn't even in his prime, we're talking about Anthony Dirrell on the back end. Anthony Dirrell boxed him up for a bit. And so it leads me to believe if Dirrell was in his prime, Benavidez would have been in a hell of a lot more trouble. So now you're talking about Canelo, who I think is, at this point in time, a lot better than that. And I think he has, Dirrell has pop, but I think Canelo has variety. He has a variety of ways to get you, and I do think Canelo's IQ is higher than Anthony Dirrell's. Anthony Dirrell's more aggression. So you're talking about that, I think he beats Benavidez. So when you're talking about strictly Andre Ward at 37, 4 years removed from the ring, would he have the best chance? I think yes. Only because the other guys don't really do it for me.
Remember, Timothy said, like, inactive, like, right off the commentator's desk.
I still would give him a better chance than Benavidez, and I still would give him a better chance of Caleb Plant. Remember, I'm not saying he'd win. But what I'm saying is I give him a better chance than those
because
guys.
at least he's been in there with guys to test him. None of these guys has been in these. It's gonna be a wash. Everybody's bringing up these Benavidez and these Caleb Plants and all these other guys who has never even been in there with some guys that's going to be in there to test them. And he's going to give up a good fight against the Saul. But I get what you're saying. At least if anybody has the best.
That's one point. Here's another point, bro. He's been in fights under the big lights before. So the moment's not going to be too big for him. And here goes another point, bro. His heart cannot be questioned. I don't know what these guys are made of. I've never seen Benavidez in a fight that wasn't going his way. I never seen Benavidez knocked down, hurt, have to get up in the biggest fight of his life and fight to a draw. I've never seen that from him. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I've never seen Benavidez in those moments, so I can't call it. I've never seen Caleb, but I've seen Ward. I know Ward believes in himself. I know that Ward's a dog. I know that Ward took out the Crusher when he was the Crusher. When they were promoting him as this man who really did catch a body in the ring.
And had to come back after being dropped.
Yeah. So I know that about him. So when I say, when you tell me, if Ward says he's going to fight Canelo, he's going to fight Canelo. And I know that he's stepping in that ring with the belief. Does that mean he would win? No. But in his talent, his IQ, his ability, some of the advantages he would have, I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I think it would be difficult 4 years off to immediately step in the ring with Canelo. But Sugar Ray did it against Hagler, although I think Hagler won that fight. Sugar Ray did it against Hagler. So you never really know. But what I would say is this. The best chance, this is finally one time with Timothy may have been on to something. That might be the best chance we have of seeing Canelo lose. A retired Hall of Famer.
That's what we got to do. We got to go get people from the, you know what I'm saying? We got to go get, hey, look, I just seen Larry Holmes the other day in his mansion. They did a little, hey, bring Larry Holmes back. Oh, man. Y'all let us know how y'all feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe and check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. Can't talk about heart. I can't wait. The next one, we're going to talk about heart with these other fighters on our next segment. Let us know what y'all think. It's a boxing bro.
You're welcome. You're all welcome.